Hello, my nurse practitioner student friends. We will be discussing hepatitis B serology. Couple abbreviation we will go over. HB is for hepatitis B. AG is for antigen. Antigen, remember G is for germ. In this case, our germ is hepatitis B virus. So that is the antigen. Antibody, the abbreviation for it in this serology marker is anti, A-N-T-I. Antibody is our body's friend. It's the immune response of the germ, immune response of the antigen, the immune response of hepatitis B virus. Hepatitis B virus has 3 layers: surface, envelope, core. S is for surface, E is for envelope, and C is for core. Let's talk about the antigens in surface area. So they will put it HBsAg. HB stands for hepatitis B, S is for surface, Ag for antigen. Similarly, the other layer, envelope, has antigen, HBe antigen, and the last one is the core antigen, HBcAg. Each antigen has antibody. What that means? Body gets affected with certain antigen. If the body gets affected with surface antigen, then our body will make surface antibody. Surface antibody is written down as anti-HBs. Envelope antibody is written as anti-HBe. And the last one is anti-HBc, that is the core antibody. Let's talk about what all this means. But when we talk about it, we will only think about positive. If surface antigen is positive, what that means? If it is positive, it means body is infected. The infection can be present or past. Now, body's response would be making some antibody. So surface antibodies shows up. What that means? That means recovery. Recovery by either infection or immunization. Then we're moving to envelope, the second layer. Envelope antigen. That means, remember, E is for extra infection. Acute infection. So if we have envelope antigen in the test, we know patient is an acute infection, and it tells us how much infectivity is there. If our body makes antibody against the envelope antigen, then the infectivity gets lower. Next thing, we will move on to core antigen. We don't have to know about the core antigen because core antigen does not circulate in the blood, so we will not have any serology report. But how we will know the core antigen is present? Because body will make core antibody. Core antibody, remember, core antibody only shows up if there is an acute infection in the body, and then later on it can linger, that infection, or the infection can go away. So core has to do with the actual infection. Core antibody does not have to deal with immunization. Core antibody shows up when actual disease process occurs. There are 2 immunoglobulin, IgM and IgG. IgM, remember GM, germ major to the core. So say acute infection. In the core antibody, if they give you a marker for IgM and if it is positive, that means we have acute infection. Germ major, GM. If they give you the value of IgG, that means germ is gone or recovered or chronic. So germ gone, GG, remember, GG, germ gone. And then CG, C is for chronic. C is the writing of it, C is close to G. So that's how I remember. Hepatitis surface antigen positive means they have infection. Antibody surface means recovery through infection or immunization. Envelope antigen present means acute infection, extra. Antibody of the envelope means decreased infectivity. Core antigen, we don't have to worry. Core antibody can be acute, can be present or chronic, or can be recovered. Acute, we will know by IgM, germ major. If it is chronic, we will know by IgG. Remember, C looks like G almost. So chronic, IgG. Recovered, gone, IgG again. The vaccine itself is surface antigen. Once we give this surface antigen to a person, the person develops antibody. So there could be a test question saying, patient received hepatitis B vaccine. How do you know the vaccine is effective? We know the vaccine is effective because the patient developed surface antibody. When there is surface antibody is positive, then we know patient is protected from hepatitis B. Practice some examples. The examples are taken from CDC and I put a link below. Very first one, surface antigen negative. That means there is no infection. Core antibody negative. That means there is no infection or recovery. Surface antibody is negative. Patient never got immunized or did not get recovery from any infection. Patient does not have the infection. That tells me patient can be susceptible to hepatitis B. Patient is a good candidate for immunization. Following example, surface antigen is negative. That means no present or past infection. Core antibody is positive. Core antibody positive means three things, right? Acute infection, chronic infection, or recovered. The last clue is positive surface antibody. Positive surface antibody tells us recovery. So we matched in last two positives, recovery and recovery here. Antibody, IgG, where it is recovered, and surface is recovered. So we have a recovery. Can we tell, is it recovery from immunization or actual infection? It is from actual infection. How do we know? Because core antibody always happens with actual infection. The following example, surface antigen is negative. That means no infection. Core antibody is negative. That means none of this in the bottom. Not acute, not chronic, not recovered. Surface antibody is positive. So surface antibody is recovery from infection or immunization. If we didn't have any kind of infection, that tells us the other two serology. That means we got recovered by immunization. This is a very important one. Always remember, if the person get immunization, it is effective if the antibody of the surface is positive. Very important to remember. The following example, surface antigen is positive. Okay, we have infection. Core antibody is positive. So core antibody is acute infection, chronic infection, and recovered. We cannot take the recovered because surface antigen already told us it is an infection. Either present or past, it's infection. And core antibody is telling us either it's acute infection or chronic infection. Now, the third serology, IgM antibody, is positive. And remember, GM, we talked about germ major, acute. So we are looking at acute infection. In this case, we're dealing with acutely ill hepatitis B person. The following example, surface antigen is positive. Okay, patient is infected. Core antibody is positive. So core antibody is positive means acutely ill, chronically ill, or recovered. But we cannot take recovered because surface antigen already told us patient is infected. So no recovery here. So if patient is infected, we only have two choices, acute and chronic. Then it is telling us IgM is negative. Oh, that's our major clue. If patient is not acutely ill, but we know patient is infected, what is left? Patient is chronically ill. Hope these examples helps you, and if you like the video, please put a thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you.